going to show you what happens when you don't pay. Ow. Hi everybody, it is February 17th and welcome to the Winter Solace Productions podcast. I am CWOT, the owner of Winter Solace Productions. As you can see, some of our URLs are expanding. I mean, I put the eBay store on here. That is where I would prefer all the international orders to go through until further notice, so that we have, you can make access of eBay's international shipping rates, which are getting sensible. Even though we do have other options in the store and certain products aren't applicable for that. And then we're also back on Facebook at Winter Solace Podcast /CWOT. I would like everybody to get Facebook likes, because if we get over 1,000 likes, I can then pay for ads to help promote some of the bands. And that's something that we need to be able to do, to just get our ads out there so that many of our bands can break through a lot of the conditioning that's out there and just further get our music out in the public space. Now, I could do a podcast on Gaza or Ukraine, but nobody cares about those things really anymore. I mean, yeah, you know, they're already walking back how the U.S. is going to occupy Gaza or whatever, because everybody realizes it's another military blunder that no one wants. And I can talk about how that's World War III or whatever, but nobody really cares about that. I'm going to talk about something more interesting. I was sick last week, because the weather here is just really bad. Like, they had to close and sanitize the school here because everybody was sick with some digestive bug. And now I'm home again because the temperature is very, very crisp and warm, -1 degree. But I want to talk about something that's been a big deal for a while, because when I was sick, I realized I got looking into Pepto-Bismol, because that actually made me more sick because I wasn't using it as intended. And then I found this eBay listing. Vintage 50s Pepto-Bismol. $99. Now, in used condition. Okay? You even still have some of the Pepto-Bismol in the bottle. Yeah. Who would buy this, and why would someone buy this? Because, I mean, I'm a reasoned and rational person, and I know that no one would buy this. I don't need anyone to buy this. But apparently, people need to do that, and then you wonder, why is that? And that brings me to what I want to talk about for the podcast. FOMO. The fear of missing out. Okay, it's in Wikipedia. It's in a bunch of dictionaries now, and this is from 2013. FOMO is now a word in the dictionary. Fear of missing out. People who live on social media are the main victims. Okay? And in the process of this, you can go and be a part of the Social Media Victims Law Center and all of the class action lawsuits that are being launched against these companies and, government-funded CIA Incutel operations. That was all set up and founded. I mean, which social media platforms are being sued for addiction? Meta, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp. Through addictive algorithms and promotion of harmful content, Facebook and Instagram lure young users into staying on their platforms for unhealthy length of time and continually checking their social media throughout the day. Facebook addiction lawyers have filed multiple lawsuits against Meta for causing mental harm in children and teens. TikTok TikTok is an incredibly addictive platform that serves users with numerous types of harmful content, including the dangerous blackout challenge. This dangerous practice is encouraging users to strangle themselves until they lose consciousness, continues to cause the preventable deaths of young children. Snapchat, I guess that's like sexual abuse. Discord, okay. I mean, I don't even know what half of these are, but yeah. Like, I realized that I was more productive at my job when I turned my phone off. And then a lot of this stuff that is continuously just occupying my mind, it alleviates. And that's what I wanted to, talk about with FOMO. Clicked on the wrong thing there. And now, this is just part of me being a life coach. This is part of the Winter Solace life coaching. Okay? Because everybody on the internet thought this was stupid. But I'm going to enhance people's lives. Okay? We're going to have spiritual healing. The healing will begin. We're going to heal all of the black metal internet community, all of that. We're just going to heal all of that by illustrating how stupid it is or how it's funded by the government. Okay? We're going to break the walls down. We're going to break some walls down. I'm going to enhance everyone's lives. This is totally serious. I am completely committed to this. I mean, I'm not going to go get a certification or be a life coach of any kind where you're actually, held liable for something. But we're going to get some guided meditations and some stuff, and we're going to start talking about these on the podcast. Because FOMO actually costs me money. Because the byproduct of FOMO is people won't even wait 10 minutes for me to do the update in the shop. Could be sitting there some morning or something, doing the store update, doing the update in the shop, going to, take everybody's money to collect orders and then have income to go produce a lot of your favorite releases and all of the stuff that we have stalled indefinitely that is not moving at any proper rate of speed. That's that. FOMO does that. But wait, we have life coaching now. We have all of that. And we're going to have guided meditations when the electronic albums come back from the pressing plant. Every time I release one of these, we're going to make a guided meditation to break people out of derangement syndrome on the internet. Okay? But the main one I wanted to talk about is FOMO, of course, the fear of missing out. Now, the phenomenon was first identified in 1996 by marketing strategist Dr. Dan Herman, who conducted research and published the first academic paper on the topic in 2000 in the Journal of Brand Management. It's over 25 years old, FOMO is. Herman also believes the concept has evolved to become more widespread through mobile phone usage, texting, social media, and has helped flesh out the concept of the fear of missing out to the masses. Before the internet, a related phenomenon, keeping up with the Joneses, was widely experienced. This has evolved. Remember the old expression, they got to keep up with their neighbors. That has now evolved. That is now FOMO. And the easiest way to illustrate this is all of these stupid limitations. And this is business advice about the biz that I'm going to give away this for free. I could do a segment on this, a video on this, and I will one day. But okay. Black metal's stupid limitations of 100, which we do a lot of, make no money. Unless you charge a fortune for it. Unless you charge a lot. That's why all these boutique record labels are so expensive. You press 300 to 500, and the music's good enough, consistently make more money because it consistently sells at a lower price. See, you're afraid it's going to sell out, so you go buy it. You go buy it without thinking, on impulse. And everybody in Europe or any of these other places outside the United States know this, and they know this because they also know there's no import taxes here. So Americans will mindlessly buy anything. And that's how it costs me money, and the whole point of these podcasts is to just say, hey, no. But I want to... That's FOMO. Okay? And it's now in the dictionary and everything, and rather than read Wikipedia, I'm going to just read this PDF from the government, from some institute that they paid. I don't know what this is. This is just some generic, boring medical institute. Okay, that's probably just receiving all kinds of aid and bribing everything. And where is this even based out of? Bash Ding. That's Chinese. That's Chinese. That is. See, it's Chinese. It's Chinese. It's established by the Chinese. Okay, Chinese state propaganda. Okay, we're just going to read that off the NIH website. Okay, we're not going to get it in Americans. We don't need to. Okay, now this is we don't need to, because in this instance it's actually accurate. See, because when the globalists publish something and do something to you, they got to publish it so that everyone knows. Okay, abstract. Fear of missing out, FOMO, is a unique term introduced in 2004 to describe a phenomenon observed on social networking sites. FOMO includes two processes. Firstly, perception of missing out, followed up with a compulsive behavior to maintain these social connections. So if you don't go buy the newest Vathana record and spam some Reddit somewhere, you're not in the in crowd. Okay? We are interested in understanding these complex constructs of FOMO and its relation to the need to belong and form stable interpersonal relationships. It is associated with a range of negative life experiences and feelings due to it being considered a problematic attachment to social media. We have provided a general view of the literature and have summarized the findings in relation to mental health, social functioning, sleep, academic performance, productivity, neurodevelopment disorders, and physical well-being. We have also discussed the treatment options available for FOMO based on cognitive behavioral therapy. It is imperative that new findings on FOMO are communicated to the clinical community, as it has diagnostic implications and could be a confounding variable in those who do not respond to treatments as usual. Yeah, people actually have to go and get fucking therapy for this. Core tip. I mean, you have keywords. And then core tip, fear of missing out is a relatively new construct that needs the attention of the clinical community due to its diagnostic implications in treatment processes. It is associated to problematic social media usage and can be experienced as a range of negative emotions and feelings related to the need to belong. Fear of missing out is a unique term introduced in 2004 and then extensively used since 2010 to describe a phenomenon observed on social networking sites. Eventually made it to the Oxford Dictionary in 2013. In 2013, British psychologists elaborated and defined it as a pervasive apprehension that others might be having rewarding experiences from which one is absent. FOMO is characterized by the desire to stay continually connected with what others are doing. FOMO was conceptualized using self-determination theory, which was developed by somebody to understand what drives FOMO. In self-determination theory, social relatedness can derive intrinsic motivation, which in turn can encourage positive mental health. They applied SDT to FOMO, proposing that FOMO is a negative emotional state resulting from unmet social relatedness needs. The conceptualization that FOMO involves negative affect from unmet social needs is similar to theories about the negative emotional effects of social ostracism. FOMO is a relatively new psychological phenomenon and may exist as an episodic feeling that occurs mid-conversation as a long-term disposition or a state of mind that leads to the individual to feel a deeper sense of social inferiority, loneliness, or intense rage. Today, more than ever, people are exposed to a lot of details about what others are doing, and people are faced with a continuous uncertainty about whether they are doing enough or if they are where they should be in terms of their life. FOMO includes two processes. Firstly, the perception of missing out, followed up with a compulsive behavior to maintain these social connections. The social aspect of FOMO could be postulated as relatedness, which refers to the need to belong, and formation of strong and stable interpersonal relationships. FOMO is considered as a type of problematic attachment to social media and is associated with a range of negative life experiences and feelings such as a lack of sleep, reduced life competency, emotional tension, negative effects on physical well-being, anxiety, and a lack of emotional control. Impulse control, where you spend all your money. With intimate connections possibly being seen as a way to counter social rejection. In the last 7 years, research is done to establish its links with various mental health outcomes. We are interested in understanding which population is more vulnerable to this phenomenon. It is also unclear which reward pathway seems to be involved in its reinforcing effects. It has been widely accepted that dopaminergic tracts, in particular mesolimbic systems, get activated with social connections. The reward prediction errors encoding in variable reward schedules are known to maintain these behaviors. FOMO is not a unitary phenomenon, but rather a complex construct that could reflect a certain personal predisposition and maintained by rewarding experiences that result from people's desire for interpersonal attachments. Okay. Now, I'm not going to read this part verbatim, but this is a graph that they have. Okay, see, they had to make a graph that explains how they operate in a flowchart. Anyway. And no returns on FOMO stuff, by the way. If you buy it on FOMO, you're keeping it. See, FOMO is like a drug. FOMO and mental health. Social networking sites provide a compensatory medium for adolescents with social anxiety to address their unmet social needs in a manner other than face-to-face communication. Yeah, you hide behind the internet and then you behave like an ass. The use of SNS contributes to easier communication for those with deficits by compensating for their unmet social needs, with much less effort and instantaneously. However, this social compensation can be problematic when it reinforces avoidance for face-to-face and consequently increasing social anxiety. These processes likely are to worsen social fears and predisposes one for anxiety disorders. FOMO is associated with problematic SNS use due to its easy access for adolescents to interact at will and constant need for personal validation and rewarding appraisals of distorted sense of self. FOMO cognitive aspects is manifested by negative ruminations like frequently checking and refreshing SNS for alerts and notifications. These subsequently heighten levels of anxiety in order to keep up with the theme with anticipation of a reward. The concept of FOMO explores the fear of social exclusion through social media. There is a conscious awareness of what an individual may be missing in terms of a good time. With research phrases as it creates distorted perceptions of edited lives out there, the round-the-clock nature of these communications may lead to feeling lonely and inadequate through highlighting others' activities and popularity in comparison of oneself to others, leading to a vicious cycle of compulsive checking and engagement. FOMO has a relationship with the amount of time spent on social media as a predictor of emotional distress. The constant upward social comparisons and unreasonable expectations can adversely impact one's self-esteem. These events are associated with the emergence of depressive symptoms in some individuals. These depressive symptoms may be further compounded by perception that one can avoid negative emotions when part of these online communities. In a Belgian study with 1,000 subjects, 6.5% were found to be using SNSs excessively. They were found to have lower emotional stability and agreeableness, conscientiousness, and perceived control and self-esteem, which could be a risk factor for affective disorders. The problematic use of internet and development of FOMO is associated with young adults ignoring peer relationships, potentially leading to depressive symptoms. Additionally, the longer time spent using social networking, more than 2 hours a day, demonstrated a significantly higher risk of having suicidal thoughts. FOMO may have a mediational role between narcissism and problematic social media use, suggesting that unmet social relatedness needs can cause high engagement in problematic SNS. A constant need for rewarding experiences reinforces one with FOMO to engage in risky activities to maximize socialization opportunities. FOMO has been associated with negative alcohol-related consequences, either through higher alcohol use or greater willingness to engage in their risky behaviors. Adolescents with FOMO are more likely to experiment with drugs and alcohol to fit in. FOMO and social functioning. Despite the instantaneous and desired interactions with peers via social media, young adults are feeling lonelier and more distracted than ever. FOMO may exacerbate pre-existing feelings of loneliness after engaging on social media extensively. It is argued that communication channels with fewer nonverbal cues may result in less warmth and closeness among those who are interacting in verbal means, avoiding meaningful and pragmatic communication. This may result in misinterpretations and misunderstanding, leading to further emotional dissatisfaction and feelings of loneliness. It is believed that time spent on social networking sites activates the amygdala and the fear pathway, rendering young adults vulnerable to feelings of loneliness and social disconnectedness. This contributes to a cyclical nature of FOMO, wherein the individual engages with SNS to alleviate the feelings of loneliness, but then it exacerbates them. So it's like a hamster wheel. You lonely, FOMO, which leads to social media, funded by the CIA, which leads to more FOMO. Okay? Because this is a government-created prison for social control. We're rats in an experiment. I'm going to attempt to alleviate those feelings. Conversely, young adults who experience less satisfaction of the basic psychological needs for competence, autonomy, and connection to others also reported higher levels of FOMO. FOMO broadcasts more options than can be pursued, impacting an individual's decision in making in a personal and professional setting. It may impair an individual's ability to make commitments and agreements as one feels inclined to keep options open and not risk losing out on an important, potentially life-changing experience, which may offer greater meaning and personal gratification. FOMO and sleep. The FOMO and interpersonal stress are associated with insomnia and subsequently poor mental health outcomes. In another Chinese study of university students, researchers found negative affect, which is a general dimension of subjective distress, and unpleasurable engagement that subsumes a variety of aversive mood states, including anger, contempt, disrupt, fear, guilt. Nervousness was linked to poor sleep mediated by FOMO. In an Israeli university study of 40 participants who measured smartphone use at night were at risk of reduced sleep quality and overall psychological health. A survey of 101 adolescents linked to pre-sleep worry and FOMO to longer sleep, onset latency, and reduced sleep duration. It is also well established in clinical research that blue light emitting from the screen on electronic devices, like cheap phones that don't have a built-in blue light filter, affects sleep. The postulated mechanisms include suppression of pineal hormone melatonin, leading to a state of neuropsychological arousal. These alterations in circadian rhythm may lead to increased sleep latency, reduced sleep duration, and increased daytime sleep. Now, I'm not going to go on with that, since I think I've made the point and grasped this. So we're going to take a break. I don't have the playlist with me, but with the exception of one song, the point is to play stuff that's good, but it hasn't been played recently, as we've basically been playing the same batch of stuff over and over again. And if you are watching this on just YouTube, the full podcast can be streamed at the following locations: the website, Odyssey, and then obviously the Black Vault. Thank you.